She was young, beautiful, and came from one of New York's wealthiest families. But on a cold December morning in 1910, Dorothy Arnold walked out of her life and disappeared without a trace. Over a century later, the question still haunts us. What happened to Dorothy Arnold? In this episode, we'll uncover the strange and baffling story of Dorothy Arnold, a high society woman who vanished in broad daylight, leaving behind nothing but questions and mystery. Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold was born into a life of privilege. The daughter of Francis Arnold, a successful perfume importer, Dorothy had all the luxuries of New York's elite. She was well educated, cultured, and had a keen interest in literature. She dreamed of becoming a writer, an ambition that was uncommon for women of her social standing at the time. Despite her privilege, Dorothy's life wasn't without struggles. She faced the pressure of high society expectations and the disappointment of a family that disapproved of her literary ambitions. On December 12, 1910, Dorothy left her family's Fifth Avenue mansion with a simple plan. She was going shopping for a new dress. She walked along Fifth Avenue, where several people saw her that day. She visited a bookstore, spoke with friends, and even bought a box of chocolates. There was nothing unusual about her behavior. She didn't seem distressed, nor did she indicate any plans to leave. But after that day, Dorothy Arnold vanished. She never returned home, and her family would never see her again. When Dorothy didn't return, her family waited, assuming she had stayed with friends. But as the hours turned into days, their worry grew. Her father, desperate to avoid scandal, hired private investigators instead of involving the police. For weeks, detectives searched New York City, even extending the search to Europe, but they found no trace of Dorothy. The family even consulted psychics and made public pleas, hoping for any information. But every lead went cold. The only clue was that Dorothy had withdrawn a large sum of money from her bank account shortly before her disappearance. But what did she plan to do with it? As the months went by, theories began to emerge, each one more chilling than the last. Theory 1: suicide. Some believed Dorothy had taken her own life. She had faced multiple rejections from publishers and struggled with the pressures of her family's expectations. Was her disappearance a desperate escape from her life? Theory 2: secret romance and elopement. Others speculated that Dorothy had run away to be with a lover. Rumors circulated that she'd been involved with a man named George Griscom Jr., a man her family disapproved of. Could Dorothy have eloped with him to start a new life elsewhere? Theory 3: foul play. The most disturbing theory is that Dorothy was a victim of foul play. Some believe she met with an unfortunate end, possibly murdered by someone she knew or by a stranger. The family's reluctance to involve the police immediately may have hindered crucial evidence. Each theory offers a possible explanation, but none provide the full picture. Every lead seemed to end in mystery. The Arnold family's behavior only deepened the mystery. They were tight-lipped, refusing to speak openly about the case and avoiding the press as much as possible. Some believed they knew more than they were willing to admit. Could they have withheld information to protect their reputation, or did they genuinely have no answers? Francis Arnold, Dorothy's father, insisted until his death that his daughter had simply been kidnapped. Yet, he never provided proof, and his refusal to cooperate with law enforcement raised suspicion. As time went on, Dorothy Arnold's disappearance faded from headlines, but her story remained in the public imagination. She became a ghostly figure in New York society, a haunting reminder of a young woman who vanished without a trace. Dorothy's story has inspired books, movies, and endless speculation, but the truth remains elusive. Did Dorothy escape the constraints of her life, or was her fate sealed by someone close to her? Over a century later, we are left with only questions and no answers. Some mysteries fade with time, but Dorothy Arnold's story lingers like a shadow over Fifth Avenue. Perhaps one day the truth will come to light, but for now, the disappearance of Dorothy Arnold remains one of the New York's oldest and most haunting mysteries.